So I'll start with IELTS General. What I have here on the screen is, so just quickly, I've been teaching English since 1998, and I've been teaching exam preparation since 2004. So when I'm teaching IELTS or CELPIP or TOEFL or other tests, I have strategies and information that I've gathered together and used with my students. So you're going to see some different ideas, information, and some links in my notes. That's because I've taken this information from several different sources and put it together for my students. So with IELTS, doesn't matter if it's general or academic, you have 60 minutes in order to write a letter and an essay. And as I said with CELPIP, most students are focused on grammar and vocabulary. That's about 30–40% of your score, because the teacher is also looking for how you've organized your information, how you have the transition signals, the specific examples you're giving, and this is more of the content. So most of my focus is on those areas first, then I look at a student's vocabulary and grammar after that. So with the general writing, you're usually writing about a letter, and I'm not going to read through all of this information, but it just gives you an overview of what the questions might be. So usually you have information, what are you writing about, the context. Then it asks you to talk about what you're to say. And then the third part of the question usually has specific details that you're supposed to explain. So for example, it might be you're living in a certain place, you have a problem with your landlord, write a letter explaining what the problem is, what the details about it, and then how you want the problem solved. Typically, there's lots of different topics that you could be asked for the IELTS General, but it usually revolves around one of these 6 types. And the format is similar, so don't be overwhelmed or think you have to memorize 6 different letters or information. But usually you're requesting information, so you're asking for something. You're offering a letter of condolence, meaning there's been somebody, they lost their job or something happened to someone, they had an injury, and you're writing us about that. Maybe you're writing a thank you or appreciation for something that happened, somebody or a business helped you. You're giving advice, feedback, or a suggestion. You're apologizing, or you're complaining. And most topics I've seen, it's more in a complaint format, but how you write is similar. You have your introduction, you explain the situation, you give 2 or 3 reasons and pieces of information about it, and then you conclude or end off with your letter. So you'll see here on the screen, I say read pages 9 to 21 in this PDF. So that's where this information is from, and it gives more details and examples from that. And this PDF I will put in our Facebook group, or you can send a message to me privately and I'll send it to you directly through Facebook or email after this class, well, later today. So let's look at how do you organize, or what should you be doing? So with the 1 hour, you should spend about 15 minutes, maximum 20 minutes on the letter, and then that gives you 40 to 45 minutes for writing the essay. And so what I recommend is a simple 4-step idea. And so I often will refer to these terms about brainstorming, making an outline, writing, and then revising or rewriting what you want to say. So in this pattern or section, you don't have 10, 12 minutes just for each step. But in brainstorming, you just take 1 or 2 minutes, look at the question, look at the key words. What is this question asking you to write about? And that way you can then start to move to the next step. How am I going to organize my essay in an outline, or sorry, organize your letter? So this is where you'll think of 2 or 3 ideas. You'll write down one or two details that you'll want to write, but you're not writing long sentences yet. You're just writing a few words in order to get some ideas in your mind and get you thinking about the topic. Then you're going to write your sentences with a short introduction and conclusion, just a sentence about the topic, what the main issue is, and the information. And then one thing that many students don't have time or don't think about, before you hand everything in or you click send on your computer, you want to take a minute to look through the information. So you want to just review, do you have it organized? Do you have transition signals first, in addition, on the other hand, another idea? Your vocabulary, your examples. You just want to glance through your letter and make some quick changes before you hand it in to the examiner. So for the sample topic, I'll look at number 2 here. So this explains a question that you could be asked on IELTS. So you bought a new mobile phone. A few days after it's purchased, it stopped working. So you spoke to the company representative a week ago, but the phone has not been repaired. So now the question, or the task for you is, write a letter to the company, introduce yourself, explain the situation, and say what action you want the company to take. So this is where you would write just quickly, hello, my name is, or I'm writing this letter because. You want to give 2 or 3 paragraphs about what the problem was, the fact that you spoke to somebody but no one's responded or helped you. And then again, very specifically at the end, what action do you want them to take? Don't just say, I hope you solve my problem. Give them something concrete or specific. Please replace my cell phone, or I would like my money refunded in the next 5 days. Something that shows the action for the company to take. Okay. And so in this example, this is from a website called IELTSblog.com. I love this website because if you look on the left-hand side, you can see that there's sample essays at different levels, and there's sample letters and reports at IELTS 7s and 8s. So this gives students a good idea of what are some different samples of what other students are writing. And then they often have comments underneath from things that are good, or maybe a few things that need to be changed. So this is one resource that will help students as you're practicing and writing. So let me just ask quickly, before we look at IELTS Academic Task 1, are there any questions you have about IELTS General Task 1? Okay, everyone is quiet, so that means either everything is clear or you're a little bit not sure what to ask. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
Clear.
Everything is clear?
All is is a letter?
Yeah, this is an example about a letter, yes, for this section. So the letter might be about an apology or a complaint or something that you appreciate, but for IELTS Task 1, it's usually in a letter format, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Trevor, if you don't mind,
sure.
Just a simple question about the task response. I think I saw many videos on YouTube. Teachers or IELTS teacher are talking about the task response. If gonna ask you to write about that topic in the letter, you have to precisely mention what the task is asking you for, meaning that it should be one paragraph for the first task, second paragraph, the second task, third paragraph, and etc. And I don't know if the IELTS examiners considering merging between any of the one or the second paragraph together, because I think they consider the structure of the paragraph or what's mentioned. So again, my question is, can we merge two tasks in one paragraph, or we should separate them based on the task? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So for IELTS, your first sentence should be a general sentence explaining the situation. So even though the teacher knows the situation, you have to pretend the teacher hasn't seen it. And so the teacher will, like they read your first sentence, you know, hello, I'm writing about a problem I've had with your mobile phone company, or I was at your store last Saturday and I bought a mobile phone, but now it's not working. And then, so you want to, your first sentence is what the introductory sentence. It doesn't have to be a long paragraph, but just one sentence explaining the information. Then in your next paragraph, that's where in this question specifically, you would want to use one paragraph and explain what the problem is. So maybe you have two problems with the phone and give some details, like it's not picking up the signal or it stops the calls. And then you would have a paragraph giving probably two solutions. I want to replace my cell phone, or I want my cell phone, sorry, I want my money returned for my cell phone. So that gives them something concrete and gives them a choice for that. Okay. Okay, yep, there's one more question. Yep. Do you want to ask your question?
No.
Sorry, it's very faint when you're speaking. Yeah. So, okay. I'm not able to hear, but if you want to type your question in the chat, I did have a request of asking for the PDF, so I've just sent the PDF to everyone through chat, but I can also send that through our Facebook group as well, so that everyone can access that. Okay, so we have about 8 minutes left because I want to wrap up before our conversation class. I'd like to just speak very quickly about IELTS Academic, and then I can follow up or give a bit more detail in our next class, or you can send me questions and information during the week through Facebook or my email again. So can everyone see the screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I will go through this quite quickly. Again, I can send the PDF to you, and this PDF is 12 pages, so I'm not reading every word. But in Task 1 Academic, this is not a letter. Now you're going to be given a chart or a graph about some details and information with numbers or percentages. So it's similar to what you'll face in university when you're studying most classes, like in engineering or in accounting or different things. You're going to explain what the information is about. So in one or two sentences, you'll describe you'll write down what are you describing. So this is a table that explains about men and women smoking from 1995 until 2005. Or this is a graph that talks about how many how many restaurants are visited by teenagers in Australia between 1960 and 2000. So you'll explain quickly what is that information about. That's your intro or summary, sorry, your introductory sentence. Then you're going to talk about the graph. So this is just the yellow, the parts highlighted in yellow. You'll talk about the graph with numbers. You're not analyzing it, you're just explaining. In 1995, here it was 12%. In 1997, it jumped up to 17 or 18%. In 1998, it soared up to 35%, or it doubled. So you're going to look at the graph and describe the trend of what's happening. Is the information going up? Is it staying the same, or is it going down? Okay, I'll jump through parts of that. One thing that's important is you have to describe an order. So if you're given 5 different pieces of information, maybe it talks about 5 different countries, you need to decide, are you going to talk about the lowest and move to the highest, or are you going to start at the highest and move to the lowest? So you have to organize it some way. I often see students write about something high and then low and then the middle and then high. I look at that, it's not organized. So choose a format and move in and organize it in one way. Then this PDF gives you a lot of words that we can use, because in the essay for IELTS, we're looking at transition signals about how you've organized in your specific examples. In the task 1 summary of a report, we're looking at your nouns. We still look at transition signals first, in addition, on the other hand, but we're also looking at how you're describing what's happening. So if the trend is going up, don't just say it goes up, it goes up, it goes up. This gives you a variety in your vocabulary, different ways to explain verbs or nouns. If it's going down, rather than just say it dropped, it went down, now you could say it declined, there was a decrease, there was a reduction. So this is where you're expanding your vocabulary information for us. It can remain the same or stay steady, and then we can add always, depending on what's happening. Is it going up slightly, or is it going up steeply? Was there a dramatic drop, or was there just a moderate drop? So these are different words that you can put in to explain in more detail what's happening with the trends in the graphs. Okay. So for example, and I'm not going to go into detail, hopefully this is clear for you to see. I'll make it a little bit bigger, but you see there's a grid here, and it's talking about homeschool students from 1999 to 2004. So what I do with this is I glance at this for 1 or 2 minutes, and I just look through and say, what is the main information? So there's lots of numbers, most of them are small. Here 204, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. So here it's going up. In the second one, 1.5, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. So it's here, it drops, it goes up, then it goes higher. So I look at what's happening in each line, and then I move together pieces that are having the similar. So if I look at 1 and I look at 3, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, both of these trends are similar, so I can describe them together. The kindergarten and grades 3 to 4, both of them are gradually increasing. Grades 1 and 2 and grades 5 and 6, they both start, they drop, and then they go up. So I look for similar trends that I put together, and then I write it in several paragraphs on what's happening in each section. And again, like I showed you here, there's some comments that were given from this teacher, what was good and what are some areas that they need to change. Okay. So I'll just bring everyone back together. Sorry, let's stop sharing. So again, this is very quick. I will have another session in 3 hours that goes through the same information, but I just wanted to give an overview of task 1 or task 2. I'd like you to send me when you send me in Facebook or through the chat here, if you send me the, sorry, I'm just talking and doing another thing as I send you a file. So if you tell me if you're taking academic or general, then I can send you a question for you to write about. And same as with CELPIP, if you send me a writing, then I or one of the other teachers I work with, we will give you a free analysis and look through and highlight what are your strengths and your weaknesses for this. I have time for one quick question now at the end. Is there any questions from what I've talked about so far? Okay, yep. Do you have a question?
Trevor?
Yes.
Me?
Sure, George.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hello. About the topic it's given by the teacher.
Yeah, so for the exam, you're going to be given a specific topic, and I never know what the topic might be, but we know that usually in IELTS there's different categories. So with essays, it'll talk about environment or about technology or about education. Like there's about 10 or 12 different main categories. With the reports, it doesn't really matter whether it's about smoking or food or whatever. You're talking more about the numbers, so you need to organize it and explain what the numbers are.
Oh, I understand. Thanks.
Okay, and there's one person with their hand up. You have your like the link DLK2YY. Do you have a question? Okay, so thank you guys for joining me. Most of, if not all of you, are part of our Facebook group, so you can ask me questions through private message through our Facebook group. As I've mentioned, I've put in the chat, we have a conversation class that's coming up after this for 30 minutes, and there you get to talk. It won't be me talking as much. But I hope that many of you can join us and that you can keep improving and practicing your English through that. I've also put in our Facebook group, so if you're not yet a member, you can sign up. There's a few questions, and that way you can respond and ask questions to me directly and also see the different information we have from previous classes. So thank you guys for joining this morning, and hopefully I'll see most of you guys in the class, the conversation class that we'll have next.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Tawfiq. Good to see you. Yeah. Okay, we will see you guys, most of you in conversation, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Okay, bye for now.